we're going to talk about today is just I'm working on an Oracle deck, so I'm super excited. I wanted to share it. It was better as a live video than just talking about it and you can't see it. Um, and just kind of why I chose it. So I had some difficulties getting my new iPads set up. So I apologize. So we're going to get into this today, and I'm going to show you what lovely little fun I've been working on. Let me get here to my iPad and get the pictures open so you can see them. So, as we all know, today's the new Lunar New Year. It's also a new moon, and we had a solar eclipse. So, all kinds of fun things in the skies going on. So, as that likes to throw us through a loop. So, we're going to chalk mine up for that today. So, all right. So I think I have everything set up finally. I can get you the pictures I want to show you. I will be a happy camper. There we go. Finally got them. All right. So I'm going to turn my camera off and let you all see. So here we go. So this is the card backs. This is going to be the name of this is going to be the Lantern Creature Oracle. It's a 28 card deck. It's got 12 creatures or animals, and then it's also got 12 moon gates or 12 moons. So this one's very different and very interesting. I didn't really choose the animals. It was kind of like they chose me. I have a couple decks of my own that are by other artists that let me. Wait a second here. I'm trying to get it to where we can see. There we go. So here's some of the creatures. And I picked the background. It was kind of off of a drawing I did. And it was just very kind of the aurora, the cosmos. Um, and they also, they will have um, astrology, hermetic astrology ties in. So I'm it's, for me, it's a way to connect not only with the creatures, but to connect my love of astrology as well. So, like, we have the bee, we have moth, raven, deer. Each are going to have their own story to tell, and for me, that's they chose me, so I want to tell their story. So, just wanted to show you some fun pictures and kind of where I'm at in the deck building process. So we have these four are what I call like my elder animals. So we have a panther, the bear, the crane, and the buffalo. So those are going to have a little bit special meaning. And then here we get into the moon cards or moon gates. So of course you're going to have all the moon phases. Then I threw in some extras. So we got some fun ones that so far in what I've found how this deck talks, it's straightforward, it's strong, it will bite a little, but it tells you what you need to know. It doesn't fluff it, which is, if you're like me, I like things that don't fluff. So like we have these are special moon gates, so you're gonna have a lunar eclipse, solar eclipse, the blood moon, and a blue moon. So these all will be your special things. So yes, I'm definitely no fluff. Yes, no fluff is my motto. Um, I am I prefer absolutely no fluff because for me, if I want a deck to talk, I want it to talk like it should talk. Um, Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, I wanted to give you guys a fun little look of some behind the scenes. I don't get to. I've probably have a graveyard about 5 other decks that I've created, but didn't work quite right. And doesn't mean they'll not ever get done. It's just it's not their time. This one is the one where it's time. I've even, um, to help kind of what I say prototype, um, I've even started prototyping. So I kind of like made it, I cut out like some just blanks and put the names on them so I can get a feel for just, the energy of each name, instead of, keywords or phrases. I want those to come naturally. Eve, I'm hoping, I haven't decided glossy or matte. I don't know. It's a good question. I want to say glossy. I think these may go matte. I'm not really sure. So, that's gonna be something I'm gonna have to, maybe get some prototype prints, one in glossy, one in matte, see which one, or yeah, maybe find one that's kind of a mix. I don't know if there's a satin, which would kind of be a mix between glossy and matte. So, so yes. So, that is what I've been working on, um, these last little while, and kind of why I've been a little quieter on posting. I mean, I did post a couple things, one on the solar eclipse and everything, but just to kind of show you all how. So I'm a big note writer, so I have found this lovely Good Notes thing. So instead of having 50 notebooks, I can now just do it all digitally. And when you're an ADHD brain that loves notebooks, yeah, this little app has been like my favorite find. And I just keep my notes. Uh, like this tells you kind of what it's, what some of the meetings I've came through, um, you know, between like these, and then also, so here you see where they're going to have not only an elemental, tied, they will have an astrological one as well. So like for cat, it's tied to Leo and fire. It'll also have a moon home. So like this one's the waning gibbous moon. Um, so all of my notes that I've done so far, my test pulls, I've been testing pulls of my own, seeing the messages that come through. So, I think it's interesting. I don't know how others, um, when other deck creators, maybe ones that are a little bit more, ones that have been doing it for a while, do theirs, but that's kind of what I do. Mine comes with a lot of testing, and I think that's just all part of the process. It gives you a good feel for your own deck and the message you want to send, like the message you want that deck, to portray. And I think I have it in one in here that, let me look. So yeah, it's definitely I do love that it's actually definitely a no fluff deck, and it's one of those that's going to give you the truth, and it's going to tell you as it is. I think I have where I wrote in my notes, um, what the message where I finally got like what this deck's actual kind of voice is, um, and how it's going to say it. I just gotta find my notes. Like I said, these good notes has been a fantastic thing. Uh, it is definitely one that, yeah. So, like and I'll turn it around. So this was a run, that I did, and just pulling off some of the spreads I had created. Um, And that little message right there is pretty much the deck's nervous system language. It is strong, it's sharp, and sometimes, and most of the times, it's silent. It's going to it's going to make you sit there and kind of not find the message. It's going to bring you the message, but you're going to have to listen. Like, it's not going to just shout it at you. It's going to be like, okay, I'm giving it to you. You've just got to be quiet enough to listen. Um, it's kind of, this is what I've gotten. Um, the deck statement is definitely, um, it's deep in some, and my pulls have been, whew, there. As you can see, this one was very to the point. So like, and then I kind of, and I'm using these as good because it helps me write my guidebook. Testing out the spreads. Do they flow? Are they clunky? So for me, I think this has been a really fun process, not just as a reader, who does sometimes read for others, but I read for myself, is when you're creating these, you're like, okay, you know, does this work? Does that not work? Um, so I think that's been a really fun experience so far, is just finding what works and what doesn't work. Um, but this deck really chose me. Like I said, I have decks by others, and I have a couple that are very animal or creature centered, like the Spirit Song Tarot. I also have the Shaman Wisdom cards, which are an oracle type cards deck that are very, very animal, and they're pretty much like my go-tos when I'm reading for myself. Typically, especially my Shaman Wisdom deck is like my go-to deck for most things. There are certain things I obviously know that it can't answer, or certain actually situations it can't answer. So, and yes, those were sort of an inspiration, but it was more like those were my path. So, those were kind of my guiding post. And I've had some, channeled messages that were very much, hey, these are your guides and, your dreams. I've had dreams where, animals were the center. So, you got to listen when the universe and the cosmos and your higher self is giving you the like neon signs to say, hey, this is where you're supposed to go. You listen. So, so this one was just more of a casual live for episode 3 of the podcast. I thought it would be a fun way to kind of go behind the scenes in creating this Oracle deck. I don't have a timeline of where I'm going, how long it'll be before I can get it out, but I think I'm not rushing it. I want to make sure that not only that it's up to my standards, as far as if it was if I was to buy this deck and it was out there, I'm going to make sure that this is something that could be somebody would want to pay for, in that sense too. But I want to make sure this deck's voice is done right. It's very important to me that I give it the voice it wants, and do right by the messages it wants to, it wants to give out. So yeah, so that's what I've been up to besides work and life and, everything in between. Not a whole lot of no, not a whole lot of other stuff. Um, so, you know, work's been workish and life's been lifey. So you gotta have fun with it and just do what you can. So, but I always make sure that, you know, I keep not only my hobbies, which is creating. So part of this is my creative outlet is, making this Oracle deck lets my artistic creativity can, flow, and just I can really let loose with my intuition and be like, well, what if I played with this visual, or, does this look right? It really lets my creativity flow, which is really nice. Um, so yeah, and I do get channeled messages every now and then. Um, you know, so like the one I got the other night was basically just a confirmation saying, "Hey, this is this is the deck you're supposed to do. It's medicine, but the spiritual medicine that's needed. It's the spiritual medicine, you're supposed to help get out into the world." So I listen, and we've been, before, I've been creating and going through and starting to write, make my guidebook notes. That's the kind of scary part. I'm like, how do I write this? Yeah. That don't, you don't want to sound cheesy, but you don't want to sound like too overly the top. So that's the one I'm kind of playing with, is, how to balance um, the spiritual, but yet giving the truth with no fluff. Because I still think that it's, that's always that's just me. I'm definitely spiritual, but I am no fluff whatsoever. I'll just tell you how it is, and like, well, eh, you asked for my opinion. So I go try to say it as nicely as possible, but if it dilutes the truth, then I can't. I just say it as it is. Um, that ruffles feathers typically a lot of times, and pretty much been the story of my life, but that's okay. Yeah. So the last message, the kind of quote that I have from my channeled message from the like earlier this week or late last or this weekend, was, it says, "I'm here to bring the truth through their medicine." So basically, I'm here to bring the truth of the decks um, message through the medicine of the creatures and the moons, because you know if you are in tune with the moon cycles and or the lunar cycles and the lunar energies, you're gonna feel shifts. You're gonna feel the energy shifts. You're gonna feel just like, the lunar, just like it affects the tides on the ocean. You're, our bodies are made of 95% water. It's why we feel the shifts between a full moon to a new moon sometimes, for the ones of us that really tune into it, or at least, tune into our body. And, you know, this is just one way to kind of really help understand those moon phases and maybe the bigger message that they bring, along with, the medicine from the animals, because, you know, between them and the cosmos, one grounds you, one's above you. So, but that's what I've been up to. I hope and maybe not be a couple weeks till episode 4. That one will just be a recorded one. But for episode 3, it was all about, you know, the new, the in production, I should say, the Lantern Creature Oracle that I've been working on. So I'll still be writing. It's just going to be a little sporadic. Work's been busy, so I have to schedule a lot of my stuff sometimes, and I don't really like to do that. I kind of like to put them out when they come, but sometimes I don't get that choice. So I try to go with the flow as much as possible and just go from there. So, but I appreciate you all. Thank you for joining. Appreciate everybody who has listened to the first, well, technically, this is the 4th full episode because Count Zero is a trailer. So thank you. Till next time.